Some film producers, like the producers who make the film Star Wars, often show creatures in their films which actually exist.
Welcome back to another reaction on the Wizard's Fish. If you're new here, thank you for joining. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so we can help get these videos pushed out to as many people as possible. Everything you see in here will be for entertainment purposes only, and viewer discretion is strongly advised. Let's get right into it.
It's because it reminded me of something. In America, we have this tradition where natives are portrayed to hold up their hand and they say, how? I don't know, something racist, I guess. But I've discovered that they held up their hand for a very specific reason. And it wasn't some silly depiction from our Hollywood. It was actually a result of them wanting to see whether or not you had 6 fingers. We have all kinds of these stories in America of these giants, and, you know, anytime the giant bones are found, the Smithsonian shows up and carts it off, and you know, that's probably true. And the more that I look into this prehistoric stuff that's related to the sandcastle culture that I've discovered and the cultures that are associated with the later tech eras, namely like the second tech era, there's a lot of Nephilim stuff going on. And it seems that the Nephilim very much made it for a long time. You know, even after the Younger Dryas cataclysm, they seem to be present. And it appears the early natives in America had to deal with these guys. And so them holding up one hand and saying, how? They probably didn't say how. I don't know. But them doing that was essentially derived from the traditions of wanting to know whether or not you're an enemy. And I don't mean to be getting too deep into the conspiracy spaces because, I mean, try to stay as neutral as possible, but I can't help but get into this prehistoric stuff and discover you can't avoid this topic. And the things that stand out to me are these Nephilim stories from early America. And there's one that I can't find. And if anybody knows of what I'm describing, please, send me the link. But there's a interview of a groundskeeper. This individual worked on the grounds of Jekyll Island, where the Federal Reserve was created. And he told a story where Rockefeller built the clubhouse or whatever structure over this site that was alleged to be a sacrificial site of the former giants that had lived on that specific island. And this groundskeeper described this long story of Rockefeller and all this back and forth about the giants. And you really can't get into early American history or even prehistoric world history without talking about the alleged existence of the Nephilim.
It is true that
it's really interesting.
Were very tall, but their height would have been further exaggerated by the fact that they exhibited cranial deformation. On top of their already elongated skulls, the Timucua warriors wore lavish plumes, tall enough to make a 7-foot man appear as though he were 9 feet tall. Both sexes were tattooed, but the men especially. According to some sources, about a third of the adult Timucua population were actually hermaphrodites who opted out of warfare and thus were responsible for the manual labor. They also acted as receptive sexual partners for the men and bore a ceremonial significance.
Neat.
Something strange is getting ready to take place on March the 11th. The Simpsons showed it, 4chan predicted it, and now there's a meme coin in the middle of all of this that can possibly make us all millionaires. Check this out. In one of the broadcasts, they showed how World War III was going to start over this whole situation with oil. Right after that scene, they cut to this scene over here, which is a crypto price board with a prediction date of March the 11th. And this coin over here, UGOR, set to hit $1. And then I went to go search up the coin UGOR, y'all. This thing is sitting at a $6.5 million market cap. And ever since I started talking about it, this coin started going crazy. And because the types of oil and war so prevalent right now, guess who's behind it all? BlackRock. And BlackRock is set to give a summit on March 11th around the same time this coin is supposed to go crazy. You guys should already know Simpsons don't be predicting anymore. They literally be flatting out telling us what's going on. And this is not financial advice, y'all, but if I were you, I would go check out this coin. The contract address will be put in the comments below. The talk of war and oil, these things will go crazy. Comment juice and I'll DM you the link to the free Telegram group where I give real-time plays and calls, man. You don't want to miss this wave, y'all. Let's catch it. Peace in.
I think you are correct. They live multiple lives and get to choose what life they wanted to do. Don't get me wrong, genetics do pass on, but they literally look the same.
Of dudes that look like you. Okay. So they just think that you've been on the earth since you've just been around. There's just different generations. I just wanted to show you just in case.
We're all stardust, baby.
I know, that's it.
You know.
What is my name? Look at this.
Okay, so what do we got?
What do you think?
What is this? The beard and the cheekbones. And the forehead.
Look at that guy. That's a French actor, Paul Monet.
Yeah, we have the same foreheadish eyebrow, I think.
But that's the real...
Oh.
No, I kind of see a little bit of it.
Got the eyes.
What do you think? Fallen angels, clones, or just people that look the same?
Break the pattern today, or the loop will repeat tomorrow. You must break the pattern today, or the loop will pattern today, or the loop will repeat tomorrow. You must break the pattern today, or the loop will
I'll switch your wife out and I'll put another one of your wife inside of her body. And they're walking around and you think that's your wife and it's not your wife. This is what's going on. It's no longer, like I said, it's no longer spiritual. We figured out how to, turn into spirit and exchange the soul in order to control the vessel. So if I have the vessel and I'm just nothing but spirit, I can ruin your life. That's what everybody has been going through. So everybody they can't recognize it unless you say things like the switch. So when they watch that and they see that there's other people that can identify other than me, it's not just me playing games. It's the truth. We have to be careful with who we want. You'll be in the car with Paul, man, but you're really in the car with Peter. But that's Paul's body. But why is Peter in Paul's body? You know, I've been going through this for a while in order to figure out and identify every soul inside of every vessel, to where we can all identify it, and it's not just me that can do it. We can all identify who we are. We can all say, you know what, we're still here.
So how do I know Orlando's in Orlando's body right now?
Ah, man, I would be 6 inches taller. Haven't you seen Kanye?
Why does Ray J look like Kanye now?
Probably because he is.
You say that a lot. You say a lot of people are other people.
Well, no, bro, you have to look at the vessel and look at how things work. If you love someone, you should know how they work.
The woman you just saw in that video leading the class, 26-year-old Reagan Gray, turned out to be a pedophile. Just last month, Reagan was arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with one of the 15-year-olds that she was in charge of at her church. At the time of the abuse, Reagan was teaching at the Little Rock Christian Academy and volunteered for her church Emmanuel Baptist student ministry. So basically, Reagan tried her hardest to work around as many children as possible. Who knows what kind of horrific thoughts were running through her mind at all times when she was around these kids. Reagan, before her arrest, was a woman of God, someone who devoted her life to living a pure, holy life. But in 2020, the parents of a student allegedly found text messages between his teacher and himself. Keep in mind, he was a minor. They confronted Reagan about it. She said she would cut off all communication with the kid, and she insisted that it had never been physical. However, in a counseling session in 2023, Gray herself admitted that the relationship had been physical and sexual. And after she ratted on herself, an arrest affidavit was secured, and she was eventually arrested. Now, the teenage victim would actually state that Reagan would send him naughty photographs every single day while they were communicating. They also said that they kept their activity to only stuff using the mouth, because she said that she and the student needed to stay pure, which is just disgusting. But this church has had a lot of scandals this year. The same church in March of this year revealed that the children's former assistant children's program director, a man named Patrick Stephen Miller, had had an inappropriate relationship with 2 young girls, and he had assaulted them while they were inside of the church. Hopefully the legal system hands this woman a punishment that goes along with the severity of this crime. But in America, you really never know. She'll probably get 2 years and be out on the street again to victimize more young children. And if you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife, Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts.
I got snapped with a friends. What's good, family? YouTube, yes, it's real. Yes. Hold up. Let me give y'all the 360. I'm in my backyard, bro. We got powers. I'm not deceiving y'all. I do not work for Marvel. Ain't no green screens. Ain't no electronics. Me with powers, just like you.
And you guys have superpowers? I don't know. I personally don't, in that sense at least, but like, I don't know. I've seen quite a few convincing videos of people who can appear to manipulate the wind, and it looks pretty legit. Like, I don't say it's not possible. Like, I'm not saying it's fake, but I'm not saying it's real, but it looks pretty convincing. I guess time will tell.
What if I told you there's a lot more to Antarctica than you've ever been told, and they're keeping it from you? You see, we were told to believe that Antarctica, that circle, that white circle right here, is the end of where we believe life is, right? So we're inside of that, and those are all of our continents. But the truth is, there's a lot more out there. There was an explorer by the name of Admiral Byrd, and he went over there and he seen shit that he said was crazy. And then they took him out for it. But check this out.
35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
Now, this is where things get weird, because you're telling me that Admiral Byrd claimed that there was more land past Antarctica, and 5 years later, the UN, United Nations, mysteriously assembles together to pass a worldwide treaty banning all travel to Antarctica. People, this is where shit gets weird. As soon as he told Americans in the world that there was more land beyond Antarctica, they all agreed, all these countries agreed for nobody to go over there or be able to go over there. How weird is that? They are hiding something. Since when do countries ever get along? They're all at war all the time about the dumbest shit, but somehow they came to an agreement to keep all of us out of Antarctica. Why?
By his son after his death, Admiral Byrd tells an extraordinary story. Admiral Byrd heard there was an entrance to the center of the earth through the South Pole. And he took planes into the south, under the South Pole. And when he did that, he discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. His squadron flew under the earth, into the earth. It turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. But that's just the beginning of his extraordinary story.
All I'm saying is that all these countries are keeping something from all of us, and we need to figure out what it is.
The decisions that the president is making with this war just might be the reason that everybody suffers the consequence. Now, I'm going to say a couple of things without saying them, but I need you to pay attention. Let's start with the fact that the United States sent the E-6B Mercury Nuclear Command aircraft to the Middle East. Now, if you don't know about this aircraft doesn't carry bombs. This aircraft carries final orders. You heard what I just said? It carries final orders. Now, we're going to get back to that. Now, like I said, I'm going to say a couple of things without saying a couple of things. But this is Iran. You see what they blew up in Iran? I need you to pay attention to that. Look at what's going on right here. I also want you to know that Iran said somebody's going to pay for that. The sky over there is covered in black smoke. They said it rained. And when it rained, the rain was black. This ain't good. We're going to get back to that bomber though. This plane is USA's doomsday plane. And this plane only comes out in case of a disaster. They sent this plane to the Middle East. I see a lot of people making videos saying what they would do if there was a nuclear blast. Reality to the fact is, it ain't shit you could do if there's a nuclear blast. We are in some dangerous times. This plane signifies a lot. If they have plans on doing what this plane does over there, we got a problem. I'm out.
Some film producers, like the producers who make the film Star Wars, often show creatures in their films which actually exist.
I've always thought that
the most uneducated of Africans who knows this Chitauli can identify. For example, in the new Star Wars film, what is it called? Star Wars or something like that. There is a creature who amazes me called Darth Maul. Darth Maul is a red and black being with a ring of small horns right round his head. That is exactly what the cheetah woolly look like. Some have got ordinary heads without any horns on their heads. These are the lesser cheetah, but the royal cheetah have got a ring of sharp horns all around their heads, and the very high cheetah, like their king Mubava from Mahongo, they have got very long horns which grow this way. Not that way like a wolf, but this way like certain antelopes. Now, I just wonder where these film producers get their information.
You won't believe this. I was strolling around in Kansas City, Missouri, and I happened to pass the World War I memorial. And I realized that this place is extremely Masonic. So a few things stood out to me. Of course, in the middle we have a giant pillar with 4 men on it, 1 man on each column, which would represent the 4 stages of alchemical union, or the 4 earthly elements. And then of course on the sides we have 2 winged beasts, 1 winged beast on each side, with a temple on each side as well. Well, if you look at the entire structure from the top-down view, it's symbolizing a Kundalini awakening. See, the wings of the cherubim are symbolizing the hemispheres of the brain. So those winged beasts are holding their wings over their head to where they're interlocking to symbolize the synchronization of the left and right hemispheres. From a top-down view, you can see the entire structure, and it literally looks like lights going up a spinal cord. And then you have the left hemisphere of the brain being the left temple, the right hemisphere of the brain being the right temple, and then you have the pillar in the middle where, guess what? You walk up a spiraling set of stairs to get to the top of the pillar. Now, isn't that absolutely crazy? And I went to the Federal Reserve Bank right across the street, and of course, we have a statue holding a caduceus, 2 snakes coiling up a staff, and then of course she's holding the eternal flame in her right hand.
Like Baphomet.
Interesting. But of course this video was for entertainment purposes only. Don't channel your Kundalini, just goon.
Wow.
Sabroso, prima hermana, dale. Bórralo, bórralo. ¡Ey, pero por qué! ¡Ay, porque se tienen que matar así!
When I was in the Galactic Federation of Light and I was doing all of these missions, there were some hideous things that we were seeing. And we went into realms where, like, you think the elites in Hollywood is bad. Imagine seeing the rituals firsthand, and God is saying you have to be the one to stop it. And your spirit team that you came in with, you look back and they all, nope, you're the one. Stop it. We've dealt with some very, very wild stuff. So if anyone was to say evil was real, it should have been me, right? No. Why? Because I understand that to exist means it has a God's will energetic signature. For something to exist, it has to be in God's will. That's why you have to be very careful what you choose to see, because in this world, reality is based upon perception. Be careful what you affirm. These dark beings, they need you to see something to make it so. They just can't conjure up anything and say this is real. They rely on someone with God's will, the embodiment of God's will, which is you, to affirm something. So if you see war, if you see pain, if you see ratchetness, you're playing a part of their agenda because you're subscribing to their ideology, and reality is based upon perception. Therefore, now is real because God's seen it. be careful what you see. So when I was walking in all of these astral realms, when all of these dark things was happening and I was guided to closed dimensions, you have the ability to close dimension, but pretty much you have to be like a Christ conscious being, a Buddha conscious being, or just a being that resonates at pure love, perfect love, for you to do something like that. Because you can obviously tell how that can be taken in ways that does not serve. But in order for you to utilize these miraculous abilities, you have to look at it as God will look at it. You can't perceive evil. Like if you was to go to heaven right now and talk about there's so much evil on earth, it's like you doing that is essentially you being an English person and someone handing you a Japanese meal menu and says, read it, pick what you want to eat. You like, I can't understand this. I can't read this. That's how God is looking at you when you're saying, I need help or there's evil around me. God is saying, the only thing I can do is guide you to seeing as I see. And that's why I say one of the most powerful prayers, aka divine statements, is God, guide me to seeing as you see, or by my name I affirm the sight of God. And so it is. So understand, love trumps all because love truly exists. Be careful of what you say exists because you may not understand the weight that you're bringing into whatever you say is existing. Don't say evil exists because now you're putting evil and God on the same frequency, because existence is a powerful energetic frequency. Y'all may not understand it consciously, but your soul knows what I'm talking about.
Did you hear the wild news that a shepherd in the high mountains of Kentucky discovered a cave on accident, and what he found inside changes what we know about the whole founding of the United States and the people that came to this land first? And so he was following one of his lost sheep and he accidentally came across that cave. He goes inside, he sees a wooden scroll with clay pots, and then the scroll has disintegrators, so it had fragments all over the cave. Well, these fragments are written in ancient Aramaic. The letters on them are Aramaic. That's the language that was around when Jesus was alive in the Middle East. So signless historians are saying, how did they get to the U.S.? We have no recordage of Aramaic be spoken here, Aramaic people coming to the U.S. Well, they hired the best puzzle putter together, a guy named Timothy Hansen, and he could put together a 2,000 piece puzzle in under 7 minutes. And so he was able to take all the fragments, put them together. They shot photon protein fiber beams at it, and you're not going to believe what the message says. It talks about our sky cousins coming down, and it talks about them coming down soon. And so I'll post that in part 2, but it will blow your mind.
There are many clues that show just that the Great Wall of Tartaria was to keep the Chinese out. Just look at the maps of the old world. It makes much more sense when comparing Tartaria's borders against China. But it's far from the maps that provide us the clues to this. Just look at some of the positionings. Whether it's the fort and the place where the wall would actually defend against people is all on the Chinese side, except for the sections that they have opened up to tourists and worked tirelessly to rewrite history. But try as hard as they might, they have a long way to go. But many truths are still hidden in plain sight, like this gentleman Marco Polo, who was famous for exploring the Chinese Silk Road and never talked about the Great Wall of China, ever. Strangely enough, when you go to Wikipedia here, you'll see Polo wearing a Tartar outfit print from the 18th century. Never mind that he died in 1300, but still. Interestingly, you see the little logo on the top left too. Maybe that's why he never talked about the Great Wall of China, or it was omitted. History is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. A set of lies they agreed upon. But if you want to start digging up the truth, you can start right at the controller's official websites and research the mud flood and fall of Tartaria. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Tết hôm nay còn tươi lắm, mới lấy ngoài chợ về, nhìn thì ngon chứ thật ra cũng tanh, nắng mùi lắm. Công việc này nói thật là chẳng ưa gì đâu. chuẩn bị đồ ăn cho con rồng ấy, mà nó thì chưa thuận được, lúc nào cũng gầm gụ, trước lao ra cản người. Thành ra cái xô này nặng ghê, thịt toàn mỡ vội xương không, nó khoái lắm. Hôm nay nó đang quẩu, nhìn mắt đã thấy muốn nuốt người rồi, không dám mở cửa luôn á. Từ thôi, lấy đi nào.
Ôi mẹ kiếp, vẫn còn ở dưới đấy.
Here in the floor.
Limestone.
Limestone?
Mm-hmm.
And this?
Alabaster.
The glow?
Alabaster, yeah, right.
Calcite crystal.
Right.
Same thing here on this wall. This is limestone. This is calcite crystal. So this entire section of the wall, this part here, and this part here is all huge single slab of calcite crystal.
Calcite.
Yeah, alabaster.
Yeah. Wow.
You can see the
and then the difference there.
between the
Yeah.
limestone and the calcite crystal.
Wow.
Mafish Noah? Who's going to show us?
Here is statue.
All right. So he's going to show you.
Okay?
Yeah.
No statue, okay?
Yeah.
I know, okay? I see.
Okay, you see the figure?
Whoa.
You see the belly button and then the arms?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow. Baby. Baby. Yeah. Incredible. Okay. Yeah. One more. No. Okay. Take. Yep. Nothing there. Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So you can see that the shadow figure is done using a different stoneworking technique than the glyphs that are inscribed on the wall.
I feel like I just realized why Flat Earth went mainstream Christianity in the past year or two, and I am so mind blown. It feels like God orchestrated it to foil the enemy's plan. I can't sleep right now, and this just popped into my head. When I first started posting about like Flat Earth and like the biblical ties, I remember the first video I ever made, I was like, yeah, I took a flight and I was like looking out the window, and I had been on plenty of flights before that for different reasons. And I'm looking out the window and it was like a veil was torn off my eyes, because I remember being like, is the earth flat? Like, I think the earth is flat. And I'm looking at like the plane map that's like on the back of the seats, like the digital map. And I'm like, and mind you, I was never exposed to like any flat earth content like ever. I was not a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape or form. So I'm looking at the map. As a person that was pretty familiar with what like world maps looked like, I did well in geography and stuff. And I sat for the rest of the plane ride, I didn't have Wi-Fi, thinking, oh my gosh, I think they're lying. I think the earth is flat. So then I got online because I wanted like people to talk to about it. Like I wanted to originally create like some kind of group to like talk to people that like might also think that. And at first, the way that people would revile me was insane. Like I had people that were identifying as Christian saying that they were going to off me, that I was like destroying the gospel and all of this stuff. And then it seemed like one day everything went viral and everybody just started like having sudden realizations like, oh yeah, it is flat, and the Bible does say that it's flat with a firmament above us. Like, I'm not kidding. I remember several occasions thinking to myself, like, God has to be opening people's eyes to this, like, so that they believe the Bible more. That's what I was initially thinking, and yes, I think that is true. But like the way that it went from like everybody calling me names and stuff to like everybody like being like, oh yeah, it is semi-flat, or like at least willing to give it a try. I remember always thinking like it felt divinely orchestrated in some way, and it just clicked to me why. And pretty much anytime I would post things about flat biblical earth, the video would immediately have like a flag on it or like a notification telling me that it was going to be suppressed because it was like against guidelines or whatever. But every single time it would somehow reach like millions of views with very high engagement, which like that doesn't happen. If you're a creator, you know that does not happen. Even when they would take my videos down, a lot of times they'd randomly just be like back up and they'd garner like another couple 100,000 views. And it seemed like they were clamoring to get flat earth content like off of the internet. This definitely had to be God foiling their plan right before it happened, because we're about to have alien disclosure. And if you haven't seen my other videos about Noah's Ark in the sky, as well as judgment being like aliens, like judgment and the return, they're gonna frame it as aliens, because biblically accurate angels, a lot of them look like machines. And a lot of them look like what they've primed us to believe aliens look like. Same thing with the Ark. And a lot of people are mad at me right now, but it's the exact same way that it was when I first started talking flat earth. That is why I believe God is waking people up to the fact that they live among us, the reptilian shapeshifters. David says there's lizards in king's palaces. The serpent is a talking, walking serpent. The ancient dragon comes back. Jesus calls the Pharisees vipers. Paul says Satan's workers transform themselves as workers of righteousness and apostles of Christ. The word for transform is rooted in metamorphosis. So it's not like a devil wearing a fake mustache, guys. It is shapeshifters. Every single culture ever has pictures drawn, painted, and writings that include shape-shifting reptilians.
Don't need to debate any Christian. I was a Christian. If you want, I can give you both sides, easy. But he will ask you if you delivered the message. I'll play both parts. I'll be the Christian and tell you this, and then I'll be the Muslim and give the answer.
Anytime one of these videos comes on my feed, I'm like, how does this have like 100,000 likes? Like, people do not have any discernment. Now, if I got on here with snake eyes, like slits for pupils, and my teeth visibly shifting, I feel that everybody would notice. But because it's these guys.
Okay, she might be right.
For UNICEF, which is an amazing organization that works in over 150 countries. And my job was to meet with teenagers who were living in exclusion, who were living in extreme poverty or living with HIV, and write their story.
I am a rich Jew backed by a richer Jew.
Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Just look at his eyes.
Copeland is highly obvious. Look at the eye shape. Look at how he is. This is a reptilian. But most people are already showing that they would not recognize a snake if it looked like an angel of light with Christian theology.
I'm here to say welcome to the spiritual war. If you're not aware of it, put on the armor, stand your post. You're a woman of the word.
Watch
She's got the eyes too.
The teeth. The eyes are shifting to reptile eyes, and the teeth are sharp and reptilian. I'm not saying this to be a bully. I think that she's very obviously beautiful, but I do not think that this situation is at all what we think it is.
Ask a man who's a great man, actually, one of the great men of our country, Kenneth Copeland, to come up and say a prayer.
Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took...
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian. But come in and win the election.
We're going to take a short break. I want to talk to you more about President Biden.
We're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian.
And you might say, well, why would a shapeshifter want to preach the gospel? To point you towards this. Every single sus, or at least sus to me, Christian public figure, they all believe in globe theory, and I would bet anything that they're going to point all of the people that look to them for everything to this being like aliens from outer space and or just completely demonic, because Revelation says that Satan will deceive the whole world into encompassing the camp of the saints, which I believe is what I call Noah's Ark in the sky in those videos. It's New Jerusalem, and they've spent a long time pre-framing the perspective of the masses as to what it is. That's why we just had that viral clip like last year of Wernher von Braun's secretary coming out and saying, he told me one thing, to not forget one thing, that in the end, the last deception, to remember that it was not aliens. Wernher von Braun is the founder of NASA. And his tombstone said Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. And it's wild to me. I feel like it's been in our face the whole time. Like the They Live movie. Like, yes, the Bible also says he sends fiery serpents among us as judgment. Among us. They live among us. So that they can deceive the masses into truly believing that it's not the return. It's aliens or whatever else. I think it's a form of separating wheat from tares. Like, do you believe the word of God truly? Do you pray and ask God and like ask for confirmation truly? And I think that's why it's going mainstream, that all of these guys are literally reptiles. They're snakes. I mean, Trump literally like said a poem at all of his rallies that was titled, "I'm a snake." But personally, I think that a lot of people need to wake up to the fact that they're in religion too. Like, they are going to be the leaders of everything, of every religion, of all politics, of all Hollywood. They're like the leaders. Like, I know it sounds crazy because I honestly thought this was crazy like 6 months ago. But yeah, I also think the conspiracy that reptilian shapeshifters run everything is true. I'm just so mind blown, like the whole thing with flat earth. It has to be this. It has to be.
A real being. A real being.
So what does he look like? Is he like a goat with big hairy, like
well,
a
no, because that would be another archetype that we create. I think the Baphomet was created. That particular Baphomet was created pre-Crowley. Eliphas Levi created that particular version of it. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, really. What is the Mona Lisa? The Mona Lisa is the same thing as the Baphomet. What they should shut down.
The Mona Lisa?
Yeah. What it is the amalgamation between the male and the female. What they want to do, unfortunately, and someone must know this, is to make the new world not to have a male or a female, to have a androgynous species. How we got from climbing a pole to the androgynous species, I don't know, but I'm telling you the truth. And they're trying to make the male and the female blend together to have the ultimate slave.
I agree with that. I know me personally, and maybe those of you who have the eyes to see, but Hollywood celebrities are not who they appear to be. And when applied to that, it makes perfect sense. What's your thoughts?
Advertencia. Lo que estás por ver no es para todos. Estas 5 grabaciones perturbadoras han sido eliminadas en varios sitios por su contenido, pero aquí están, sin censura. La primera grabación que te traigo es realmente espeluznante. Una joven, dedicada a mostrar departamentos en venta, captó algo aterrador sin siquiera darse cuenta. Fue recién cuando sus suscriptores comenzaron a comentarle: ¿lo viste? Mira bien lo que filmaste, que comprendió que no estaba sola en ese apartamento vacío. Revisa con atención el video, porque lo que aparece en el fondo podría dejarte sin aliento.
Necesito que me digan si ustedes vieron lo mismo que yo. Yo trabajo como CM para una inmobiliaria y en uno de estos videos que siempre me mandan aparece algo o alguienes, no sé si los vieron, pero bueno, díganme si ustedes también vieron lo mismo que yo. Todo esto es porque la persona siempre que va a filmar, filma solo en el edificio o en el departamento que le toca. Pero bueno, a ver, ¿ustedes los vieron? A mí me dio tan real que me dio miedo. Cuéntenme a ver que si vieron lo mismo que yo y no me estoy volviendo loca. ¿Hice algo? ¿O alguien?
I thought I saw somebody standing there.
Well, that's until 2030, because everybody got to go then.
What do you mean? Yeah, 2030 is over. Yeah, the Earth gonna reset. Listen, it reset every 237 years. I told you this before.
That's not the age of Aquarius, is it?
Yeah, age of Aquarius now.
But 2030 is not when
that's when it reset. That's when it reset. Right now,
like it's gonna go black.
Nah, listen. I don't think you understand. Like right now, you got 3D and 5D, right? And like they on the same plane. It look like it, but it's splitting like this. So the more it's split, you're gonna have 3D over here and 5D over here. And then 3D, that's where death gonna be created. Right? And created, because death never been created yet. It's they trick you, make you think that you die. You ain't never died yet. Right? Death can be created by so many people thinking about it, right? Listen, your mind create whatever you think about. So many people thinking about death now, death is about to be invented. A lot of people don't know this, Bob. Listen, so when death come invented, death go event. And now what people call hell, that's gonna be hell, because everybody gonna be there in black and not know shit. Lost souls, gone. Never to return again. Memory.
They thought we would never find this. I caught their hands in the cookie jar. Do you know who this is? Knowing who this is going to change your reality. If you think you know, comment below, but don't cheat. While you're typing below, let me give you some hints. The story you know is just a shadow. Lucifer was not simply a myth. He was a king on earth. This was Lucifer in the flesh, but who was he? To solve this mystery, you must first learn how to see with a new lens. We must learn to see the spirit. In abstract history, a spirit is not a ghost. It is a thing's essence, a collection of attributes that make something what it is. What do you think this animal is? A wolf? A dog? It is a thylacine, a marsupial related to the kangaroo, unrelated genetically to canines. Different continents, yet it evolved the form of a wolf because it occupied the same niche, the same matrix. See, convergent evolution shows us that you can get rid of every single dog on this planet, but that form that we call a dog, a canine, as long as the niche remains, it will come back again. Because the spirit precedes the body. Convergent evolution just says that as long as two organisms share the same niche, then they will begin to develop the same attributes. And sometimes all or most of the same attributes, creating the same form. Now let's look again at the king. Not at his body, but at his spirit. What are his reoccurring attributes? He stole the Babylonian throne, incarnated as a king on earth. What did this king do to Israel? Not current Israel, but the actual Israel. He completely wiped them out, decimating them, creating what you call the lost tribes. He didn't just want land. This king claimed that he will take the highest throne in the cosmos. Who was he? And as soon as he made that proclamation,
Lucifer.
Not too long after, he went to war again. And he died. And his body was never found on the battlefield. In Near Eastern culture, that means he'd be cursed to walk the earth for all time. Sound familiar? The pattern repeats in the Bible. A prophecy is made against a Babylonian king, mocking him as El Ben Shahar, the Shining One, son of the morning. And that verse in the Bible was actually about this king. This was Sargon II of Assyria. Sargon II, Avatar, and Lucifer are the same spirit. If you want more of this kind of history, you need to read a book called World War Gods. The second episode just came out. The free audiobook is in the link at the top.
Hold on, y'all. Stop scrolling, because The Simpsons just revealed something that can all make us millionaires. And when I first saw it, I thought it was fake. But then I'm like, hold on. The Simpsons really be telling what's going on. Check this out. We all know The Simpsons has predicted some crazy things. Not even predicting, they're literally telling us. Trump becoming president, the whole war with Iran, and then the leader of it getting eliminated. They even predicted that Bitcoin would hit $120 back in October of last year. Then I saw this episode where Bart was writing SOS all over the screen, and I didn't think nothing of it. But then it cuts to this scene over here where Homer's watching the television, is talking about oil, and then it says SOS equals $1. So y'all know what I did. I went on the chain and I went on World Liberty's financial portfolio, and wouldn't you know it, they got the SOS coin in their portfolio over here. But guess what's happening on the 15th, y'all? Trump is getting ready to announce the strategic oil supply. So I went to go check the coin out, and it's currently sitting at a $1.3 million market cap. After the 15th, when Trump makes that announcement, this coin is going to go crazy because oil and war right now is what's making money. This is not financial advice, y'all, but I myself ate the small bag in this. The contract address will be pinned in the comments below, y'all. Comment juicy and I DM you the link to the free Telegram group where I give real-time plays and calls, man. Let's catch this wave. You don't want to miss it. Peace in.
I believe it's shit going on underground that we have no idea about. Because I saw the guy who was talking about it. It's 12 flights under the...
Yeah, that was an old...
They got a reptilian jail. He said it smelled like shit. And as soon as you get off the elevator, that scent stays in your face.
Sulfur.
He said he was a CO down there in the reptilian jail, and it smelled like shit, and they just smell bad. So I do think it's some shit going on under there. But
he seemed real. Do you know him at all?
Yeah, him and a couple other guys are coming out. I'll send you another video to further add context to what he's saying, because Nellis Air Force Base had an incident where some creature that they was holding escaped and it killed a guy, and the military paid his wife out. That's a real thing.
Is this guy crazy or no?
Everybody going through the rabbit hole? The whole United States is. We the people are. I have a team of 40 people digging. We've had countless of hours. I went 20 hours straight in, and this is the most sickening thing in the world that I've ever seen in my life. And all I got to say is that everybody's saying nobody's going to do anything about it. Well, I promise you what, the people sure are. They've been eating our kids for years. The Illuminati isn't no joke. There's hundreds of thousands of cult organizations, every big brand name, Walmart, Disney, all the rest of them, they're all included. This last part that they're trying to hold that we have not seen, as we the people, is going to really be more disturbing. And all I have to say is I'm from Texas, and if nobody's going to do anything, just don't forget, for we the people, that Texas is the only state out of the United States that can go independent, and there's nothing.
Did you guys hear what was just announced with BlackRock yesterday? And this is making many people wonder if we're in black swan territory. If you don't know what a black swan is, it's basically when a financial event happens that tanks the market's unfathomable amounts in like seconds. So for the first time in history, BlackRock is halting withdrawals. $26 billion is blocked. And you may be thinking like, to hell with BlackRock, like good, let them go down. But here's the problem. Yes, BlackRock is, they're taking over everything. But if they crash, so does your local gas station. So does all the companies they own, which is like our world right now. People want to cash out of BlackRock, but they said no. System is cracking, panic is spreading, and liquidity is gone. So investors wanted 9.3% of their money back, and BlackRock fully said no, which entails like they don't have it or something else is going on. I'm sure this is like a controlled burn, part of the new financial system they want to implement, right? Basically, the private credit market is in the tubes right now. But with rising oil, war in the Middle East, AI shaking things up, more and more layoffs because of AI, and rate cuts are off the table. And then one of the world's biggest funds says you can't get your money back. This is a massive red flag. And I'm sure none of it is a coincidence either.
So let me just set this up. So if you bought a DeWalt laser level at Home Depot and it paints that line across the wall, and then you put something in front of the laser to connect it. So you take it from being a really thin laser line and then spread that sucker out so it's like 6 inches wide, big fat line of laser on the wall. And then you get somebody that's on DMT or psychedelics, any psychedelic, I think. When you look at that, you can see, number one, you can see through the wall.
Where the laser is or just through the wall?
Right where the laser is, you can see through the wall. You can even put it on your arm, and the code changes on your arm. If your arm gets in front of where the wall is, the code is completely different.
Are you what?
I didn't believe this. So this was viral on TikTok. Someone stole the TikTok video and reposted it on their X account. I saw this guy. His name is Goler, and he's one of my good friends if you want to have him on.
I'm listening.
I'll put you guys in touch. So I see this video, and I'm watching the behavior of the people observing everything to see if they're lying. Because I'm a behavioral expert. I'm looking for deception and lies and all this stuff all the time. They were all truthful. So I called my assistant. I said, get this guy wherever he is, fly him to my house, or fly him, we can meet up somewhere. I want to try this out. So we flew to a place, wound up flying to a place where DMT is not illegal. And we shine this thing on the wall, and I've never done DMT before until this day. And oh my God, that's a whole nother 3-hour podcast. But while you are in the DMT state, you get close to the wall and you can see code that looks kind of like alien writing, and then some that look like kanji, Japanese characters. But the thing is, when you're hallucinating something, like hallucinations change and warp and modify a little bit. This is permanent, solid. So like, if you move your head, the code stays in the same place. And if you move the laser on the wall, like take the laser level and scoot it up, different code reveals itself as the laser is moving. Wow. And then you get 2 or 3 people lined up and they all see the same thing. And I have looked into this quite a bit because I thought no way this could be true. But the first time I saw it, I wept. There's a video of me watching it on YouTube. It was just, you're seeing something, but you're left with no answers. Like, the only thing you have coming out of that is like, the hell did I just see? It doesn't give you any more knowledge about anything. But the big thing is, why are we seeing code? And where is it coming from? And what is it made of? But why does everyone see the same exact characters if they're all looking at the same place?
Man, that is crazy.
It is bizarre. And if you put your arm in front of it, the code completely changes, but only right where your arm is.
Okay, that's crazy, because we reviewed that in an earlier video, and I was kind of skeptical on it, but now hearing him talk about how they were seeing the same thing and like got more in depth with it, like that actually sounds kind of legit. That's interesting. I'm not about to try DMT though. You shouldn't do drugs at all. Drugs are terrible. Trust me.
Hey Corey, what's up?
Does this picture look good of me?
I'm not seeing an image on my side at the moment, so maybe you took
Hold on a second, let me pull it up. What about now?
Oh, got it now. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, for sure.
So, absolutely. From what I'm seeing, it does look pretty good. The lighting seems nice, and the overall composition is solid. If you have any specific tweaks in mind or want any suggestions, just let me know.
So you're watching me through the camera?
Nope, I'm not watching you through any camera.
Well, how'd you see this image?
I see how that might have sounded. I just meant that I can see the image you uploaded.
Oh, I didn't upload one.
Oh, gotcha. Sometimes there's just a little confusion in the...
Let me take your picture and see what you think. Alright, I took your picture. Here.
The Book of Enoch tells us exactly what happened to the giant trees that were cut down. It mentions how the angels of God labored or cut down the trees in order to prevent the Nephilim giants from climbing up to survive the flood. We've been born with sight, but our eyes have become blind. They told you this is just pareidolia, that your mind is playing tricks on you. Well, your eyes have become traitors over time. So you do enough research and you come to realize that the majority of science is in fact pseudoscience to fit a narrative. We should know by now that many plateaus and mountains aren't rock formations, but the stumps of these giant trees that were cut down. And if you look closely at a lot of them, you'll see tree rings. Put the tree ring under a microscope and you will see geometric patterns of a hexagon. Take plant stems and you'll also see that each individual fiber is hexagonal in shape. This is what allows the trees to grow upwards into big beautiful trees that reach the sky. Now what's funny is scientists, or the Dark Kabbalah priests, tell us that this was made from lava. Since when does lava or magma cool down and make geometric shapes? Let's take a look at Devil's Tower. Again, they tell us that this was formed by igneous lava. Here we see climbers on individual hexagonal towers. The stems of Devil's Tower bend into the base of the ground just like a tree. We see examples of these cut down trees all throughout the world, and Enoch says that there were 200 of them. Now there's always connections within the Bible that point to the book of Enoch so we can get more details. Just like in Genesis it tells us that there were giants in the earth in those days, there's other verses that tell us all about these trees. Daniel chapter 4 verse 10, pay attention. I saw a large tree in the middle of the earth. The tree grew very tall and strong, reaching high into the heavens for all the world to see. I saw a messenger, a holy one, coming down from heaven, and he shouted, "Cut down the tree and lop off its branches, but leave the stump and the roots in the ground, so that everyone may know that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of the world. So even the Bible tells us not only who cut these tree stumps down, but why they were left there, to show the power and destruction of God and his angels. Now, mud fossils. Are these really petrified giants? Well, in Enoch 16:1 it says, "As to the death of the giants, wherever their spirits depart from their bodies, let their flesh, which is perishable, be without judgment." So judgment of the flesh is to rot and go away, to decompose. But without judgment is to not decompose. So we have to think about, how could these giants be petrified? Well, what plays a major role in petrification? Water. And what happened after the trees were cut down? The Great Flood. A legend across every culture in the world. There's a reason that Enoch, along with many other books, have been removed from the modern Bible. These books painted a far too accurate description of not only our realm and where we live, but the history behind it. You can keep believing that this is all just coincidence, keep believing that you're on a spinning water marble heading nowhere, and evolution is real, that you're a cosmic accident, or you can do a little bit of research, find the truth, and find out that there is a creator who made this amazing realm, and that you were created for a purpose.
Jesus.
The human body is almost 80%, 90% water, and it's also got electrolytes in it, which we know to be salt, potassium, different minerals. That means we're a salt battery. No different than the car battery, different than something like that. And there's a patent actually called the Cali patent, which I'll hold up here for the camera to see. And this patent actually was developed in 1897, and not much has been done with it because at that time everyone was afraid of electricity. In this case, Dr. Clark developed a product using a 9-volt battery. And I'll just show you in the back here. There it is, 9-volt battery. And this particular unit, you just snap on your wrist with 2 wristbands.
I'll have a minute. Yeah.
You snap it on your wrist just to prove that I'm a circuit. I push the little green light, and the thing is on. And if I put my hands together, you can hear that I'm a circuit, and I'm a closed circuit at this point. Now with
Why
that,
do we get a sound when you put your hands together?
because I closed the circuit. Now when I take my hands apart, obviously the electricity is now being able to flow through the body. The electricity can't go through the digestive tract, so in the digestive tract, to kill the microorganisms, the specific parasites, she's found the effectiveness of the black walnut, which the native Indians used for cleansing many years ago. The black walnut, in its green pulp form, kills many of the microorganisms, and in conjunction with another product called wormwood and cloves, typical cloves that you would get at the store, these 3 in combination have the ability to go in and kill all the pathogens.
Ay, se me fue el pelo de punta, boludo. Vamos, por favor, que salga todo bien, boludo. No, lo va a volver a levantar. Va con motor. Vamos, la puta madre,
¿Qué
dale,
hace?
cuidado. Ah, largó combustible. Eso larga combustible para poder aterrizar. ¿Largó combustible? Sí, eso larga el combustible para aterrizar,
¿Y a dónde
¿entendés?
aterriza?
Tira todo el combustible. No te puedo creer, pa. Está poniendo un producto en el lago. ¿Qué es esto? Nunca en mi vida había...
¿Pero él sube otra vez?
No, sube. Largó producto en el lago. No, están poniendo algún producto en el lago. Ay, no, esperame.
Okay, I ain't lying. At first, I was worried that the plane was going to crash into the mountains. But then, I was glad it didn't. But now, after seeing what it did to the water, I kind of do wish it crashed into the mountains. I don't know, man. I don't like people who mess with other people. It's just not cool.
These uranium water bottles, okay, from the 1920s. So you used to pour water in there, and you would drink it the next day because the uranium would turn it into spring water. It is sulfur, because that's radium and uranium is sulfur. So you would pour it in there, and then you drink it. So what I did was, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a test. I took bananas and I put them in there because I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what happens with food. And I noticed that the uranium water bottles preserve the food for up to a month later, you know, because bananas usually change pretty fast.
Yeah,
you know,
very fast.
You take off the little thing off the top and then they start oxidizing and whatever. I put this banana in there. It stayed yellow, permanently yellow for 3 weeks. And I'm like, okay, this is a pretty big deal, you know? So then I was like, I'm just going to leave it. Like, I'm not even going to touch it. I'm just going to keep letting it do it. So after 6 weeks it took for that banana to even grow just a pinch of mold, like just on top, just a pinch. And it started to turn little black dots and all this other stuff. What I decided to do, because, you know, I've done a lot of crazy things, I decided to eat the banana. So I cut it and whatever. Now it's radioactive. It's off the charts. The Geiger counter's off the charts, whatever. I was just cranked up out of my mind that day of energy. And I started to think, you know, what happens, like, you know, we're depleting this radiation. What are we? Radiation. Like, we are radioactive beings. So it's like, if you think about it, it's almost like we were meant to consume certain things to also bring that energy back. And they've changed all of that. Government scared everybody with this one story where this guy drank radium water and allegedly his jaw fell off. This is no joke what they said. And it was one person, you know, just one, but all these other people are doing it. Thousands and thousands of people are doing it. And I found out, this gets even better. The picture that they used for the guy whose jaw fell off isn't even the guy. They used a different picture of another person who had some debilitating disease and just put it in the newspaper so that they could scare people.
Arizona, 1934, the petrified forest. Over 200 million years, ancient trees slowly turned into solid quartz. But this fossilized log grew around something impossible, a precision-machined titanium pneumatic valve. The ancient tree rings literally grew around the metal threads. Who was installing industrial piping in a prehistoric forest? Welcome to Chrono Archives.
Can you give a sincere emotional bond to these people? Meaning, like, the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You got a big announcement that you have to make. They might not be happy with you when they hear the announcement. Like, if you were leaving the streaming world and you had to say goodbye right now, this is but yo, it can't be long. Okay, so get your thoughts together.
How much more proof do you need? Out of all the things he could have told Kai Cenat to say, he told them to come up with a speech, like as if he was leaving the streaming world. Well, guess what? He left the streaming world. Shut up! Now he's in the woods, in the middle of nowhere, regretting his decision. Now as he spends lonely nights playing with a book, right? Coming up with designs for his clothing brand that people really never wanted to begin with. They wanted him to stream, but HW didn't want that. They wanted him to build a clothing brand. They didn't like what he was doing. So they sent Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart got the job done. Come on, B. Look who he's running with, dogs. Need I say more? Look how angry he looks. He looks like somebody right here. Who's this? Who is this guy right here? Because this doesn't look like the old Kai Cenat, bro. We all knew what time it was when Drewski showed up. Cracking jokes. This ain't funny, dogs. This is serious. You see the floors? You see them. But you just make it seem like it's just regular floors. I'm just playing about, guys. Entertainment purposes only. Kai Cenat is good. Things change. Nothing stays the same. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. You think Kevin Hart has something to do with this? Because that's what it looks like. Let me know. I'm out.
What people call the black sun, the core, is actually projecting a map on the moon of the earthly realm. And this is where you'll see here. You need to think about mirror as a projection. And when you flip the moon in reverse, you'll see that it holds an entire map of the realm that we live within. Has all the continents, everything's there. And this is not just, like I said, I want to give you guys actual things that you could see visually and you could do for yourself. But when you're out of your body and you're accessing the other side, all this is available to you and all this is visible and seen for what it really is. I know a lot of people may not like to hear truth because it's harder for someone to tell you you've been lied to your entire life when truth is finally revealed to you. The moon is an entire mapping system of the realm that we live within, and also the realm that's pretty much cut off from us. There's other land masses. It's not just Australia, America, and all the continents that they tell you that is here. And you can access these when you're out of your body and see it. When people want to look at, get a better visualization of constructs, these are some images here that you could visually look at to get a better understanding, like seeing it. When you see something as I talk, sometimes it just clicks. The image on the left is essentially the construct of what I was showing in the beginning, but a single construct has multi-dimensional spaces and realms within a single construct. The one that we're in has 12, right? this is also where it goes into all the ancient civilizations have known about this. A lot of the history, this is what I said before, in the ancient texts, a lot of the texts are actually true, but they hold a lot of distortions because a lot of the texts and truth of the records have been destroyed within this realm. This is where you get the reset of things. This is where you get the giants and all those things. That was all here, but it has been wiped, the records. And so there's still, when you read books or you go into that, you could still find some truth, right? And it's still there. But when you leave your body and you access the other side, you access the records because all things, everything is available to all of us. That's all the information. Nothing is never truly lost.
So, did you know that we live on a ship, and the ship that we live on right now is being invaded by pirates? So, according to Admiralty law, because we lived in the waters of our mother's womb, we can be ruled by it. And because of that, we've been literally turned into currency. Currency, and then currency, because what we see manifests into reality. See, we are caught up in this word spell where they got us operating from the space of a sea monster, but we're actually a human being. You see, you can birth a vessel to the dock, and you can also give birth to a vessel, which is the human body. And then that doctor docks the baby from the vessel of the mothership. So when you dock the vessel or when you dock the ship, you are given a certificate of manifest. And when that baby is birthed into this world, or this vessel enters into the world around us, you are given a birth certificate. Because when you deliver products from one place to another, you're shipping those products to your destination. And then those products, they get delivered just like a baby is delivered through the waters of the womb. When you were living
and the birth canal,
your mother's womb, you were surrounded by amniotic fluid. So in other words, you can technically say that you were living in the sea. So metaphorically, we were all connected to the mothership through the navel of the umbilical cord. That's why the bank uses words like cash flow, liquid asset, drowning in debt, streams of income, because they understand money is an energy, it's a current. And using our mind's eye, if we look at the landscape from a bird's eye view of a city, it looks just like a motherboard. And that motherboard is full of currents of energy, which is us, that allow the city to grow and to build and to run. You see, the money that we use in this system is not real. It's only real because we make it real. But what's real is the currency of energy that exists all around us. And that currency of energy exists within us because our body is made up of 75% water. And because Rockefeller said that he did not want a nation of thinkers, he wanted a nation of workers, we have literally been veiled to the power that exists literally within us. If you ever paid attention to the word veil, veil is an anagram for the word evil. And if you think about it from a biblical perspective, the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not the money, it's the love of it. To love an inanimate object on that level is dangerous because you're taking the power that exists within you and now giving it to another entity. But we are the currency, and they make special laws to put that in place. So if the higher powers that be understand how much of value we are as currency, why don't we see the same thing for ourselves?
I could see it. It makes a lot of sense when you think about the definition of a lot of English words when you break it down to their origins and stuff. It's all trickery basically, just in order to deceive you. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up for this one. I will catch you guys in the next one. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.